Holy shit, it's been almost 3 years since I've done this. Hello everybody, how's it going? As you know, when I started here on YouTube, I used to do a lot of DVD updates and movie reviews. If you look at the first 2 or 3 years of my channel, you will see several years of prepubescent me thinking that I knew what I was talking about, even though I had no idea. With how busy work and school and just other hobbies have been, I really don't watch too many movies anymore, and I stopped collecting in March of 2016, and I even did like one big last DVD update for that. So yeah, the movies, you know, I still love them, still love watching them. It's just not as common of a pastime for me anymore. I'm very busy, got a lot of stuff going on in life, all good, thankfully. But you know what? I realized that December 1st of this year is going to mark my 10-year anniversary on YouTube. And since March 2016, you know, I have been gifted some things. You know, I still pick up some movies here and there. I wouldn't really say on a collector's basis, but since we're coming up on my 10-year anniversary in a little over 2 months, and it's a gorgeous day outside, you know what? Let's put on the childhood shoes again, and I'll talk about all the movies that I've picked up between March 2016 and today's date, September 22nd, 2018. Alright, let's see. Where to even begin? Start with some Blu-rays. I got the Steelbook of Fate of the Furious, which is Fast and Furious 8. This is a movie that I had very mixed reactions of. You know, I saw it in the theater. Keep in mind, I am the biggest fanboy of this series. I've got a lot of the die-cast cars. I love these movies. When they come out to the theater, it's like a big event for me. And this movie, you know, the realism didn't bother me because the past couple Fast and Furious movies have not been realistic at all. Where this movie kind of makes me iffy is the disregard for the sequels that came right before it, especially with the way they handled Jason Statham's character in The Rock. It seems like they brushed the past couple movies completely under the rug. I didn't really like that. It seems like the characters forgave him really easily. And just the story, they tried to go with a more serious story for this one. I couldn't really get into this one as much as 5, 6, or 7, which those are like perfect to me. But that being said, it's still a fun movie, and we've got 3 consecutive years of Fast and Furious coming up, because we got the Jason Statham, Dwayne Johnson spin-off movie coming out in 2019, Fast and Furious 9 in 2020, and then Fast and Furious 10, the last one, in 2021. Then we got another one that came out earlier this year, Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. It's okay. It's better than Tremors 5, Bloodlines, which is a piece of shit in every stretch of the imagination possible. There's a little bit of breeze right now. I'm hoping it's not fucking up my audio too bad, but at least this movie actually has stuff that happens in it. Tremors 5 Bloodlines is an hour and a half of Burt Gummer in a cage pissing on himself. It has stuff happening. It's not really that good, but at least it's not as excruciatingly boring and vapid as Tremors 5. There's a joke in here about the Cubs winning the World Series that I enjoyed. Just stop the Tremors movies, though. I mean, it's a damn shame that the Kevin Bacon trailer they tried to make for a pilot didn't get picked up, because I would love to see a Tremors series revolving around Val. But I don't know what they would do with it, because they've already done it all. And then this is a movie, you know, I waited after the hype subsided a little bit. I actually didn't see this until earlier this summer, so I was very late to the party on this movie. But, you know, I found a Blu-ray DVD pack for pretty cheap. I picked up, and I really did enjoy the movie. It was Get Out. Really cool. Why they labeled it as a comedy is beyond me, because I did not laugh once at this movie. I didn't really see anything about this movie that was to where they could label this a comedy, but what do I know? Very cool movie. Thankfully I was able to avoid spoilers in the entire time it took me to see this. And special features got an alternate ending, deleted scenes, which the alternate ending, I'm glad they went with the ending they did in the theatrical version. Great movie, very suspenseful. It keeps you wondering what's going to happen next. You really care about the lead character, and it's just kind of a trippy movie, but I really like it. Like, whenever they go into the hypnosis scenes like that, where he's like falling through a void, really trippy shit. Great movie, though. Alright, those are the only Blu-rays. Now I've got an army of DVDs here. I know which two I'm going to say for last, so just jump right into these. We've got The Italian Job, fun heist movie. Speaking of Fast and Furious, there was originally, I guess, going to be a sequel called The Brazilian Job that never got made, so they picked up that script, and that script became Fast 5, which you can kind of tell. I mean, I didn't even realize this, because I had never seen this movie before, but Fast and Furious 5 picked up a lot of shit from this movie, including copying the scene in the bathrooms where they blow the stalls up. Because I saw that's Fast 8, but I saw Fast 5 before I ever saw this, obviously. So when I was watching this, I'm like, oh, so Fast 5 took a lot from this. You know, great cast. Mark Wahlberg, Charlize Theron, Edward Norton, Seth Green, Jason Statham, John Hawkes, is that his name? Or is that somebody else? No, I might have just fucked that up. I don't think he's in this. But fun heist movie, keeps you interested, good intro, good finale. Only watched it once, but great cast. It is a pretty common movie, so I don't think I need to say too much about that. No Man's Land with Charlie Sheen. Kind of a weird 80s thriller movie. It's kind of like Fast and Furious for the 80s. I seem to have a theme going here with this. But it's funny because this has Charlie Sheen and Randy Quaid in it. It's from 1987, which the year before this they were both in the movie The Wraith together, which is another car thriller type movie. This is more of like not really a neo-noir, but it's kind of a thriller detective kind of story. It's like a realistic version of the Fast and the Furious, I'll put it that way. And that's Fast, Furious, and Deadly. Great score. I really love the 80s score to this movie by Basil Polidoris. It's not the most action-packed. It's not really the most thrilling, but it's very stylistic. Charlie Sheen does good. D.B. Sweeney does good. It's not a movie I'll watch a million times, but watching it once just to see what it was like, you know, I don't regret it. It was a good one. Let's talk about some pieces of shit now, shall we? The first one is Children of the Corn Runaway. You know, I've seen all of the Children of the Corn movies. And you know what? I don't hate all of them. The first Children of the Corn movie I like. Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, is okay. It's pretty stupid, but it's fun to watch. 3, Urban Harvest, is stupid as hell. The ones I like Children of the Corn, I like Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering, and I like Children of the Corn Revelation. Those are the 3 I actually do kind of like. The other ones, take them or leave them. The worst is the one that came before this, Children of the Corn Genesis. That was a piece of shit. But this movie, Children of the Corn Runaway, is not that. First of all, this was written. Who the hell wrote? Screenplay by Joel Swisson. There is no screenplay because there is no plot to this movie. This movie is just an hour and 20 minutes of just kind of shit happening. There is no storyline, no rhyme, no reason. You have an ending that makes 0 sense. You have like 2 cool death scenes. I'll give it, because it's directed by John Gulager, which isn't that the guy that directed like the Feast movies or something like that? John Gulager. He's a son of Clue Cooliger. I know that, but this one, you get like 2 cool death scenes, but other than that, you have no story, no substance, no atmosphere, ending that doesn't make any sense. There is no reason whatsoever to waste your time on that. And not really as bad, but there's this horror movie that came out, I think this is 1991, called Mikey. Take Child's Play, but have the killer be an actual kid instead of a doll. And it's actually Brian Bonsall from Blank Check and what was that TV show? Was he the kid from Silver Spoons, or is that somebody? I know he was from one of those sitcom shows, or Family Ties maybe. It was one of those sitcoms that Brian Bonsall had, but I do know he was in Blank Check. It's Brian Bonsall, Josie Bissett, John Deal and Mimi Craven, Ashley Lawrence. So not a bad cast. Mikey, it's a very low budget movie. It's kind of repetitive. It feels almost like a made-for-TV movie. It's really nothing about it. It's humorous to watch just for the novelty of watching little Brian Bonsall killing people. It's cliche. There's really nothing special about it, and for the most part, it runs kind of boring, and it has a pretty shitty, unsatisfying ending. And from what I understand, it's a pretty rare, hard-to-get movie, too. So, with that being said, don't go out of your way for Mikey. It's nothing special. Now, this one, on the other hand, I got this one as a blind buy, not knowing what it was. I've never seen this movie. I had never heard of it. I read the plot. I looked at the cast. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that before. It's a 1991 movie called Run. This movie was fucking awesome. I absolutely love this. I watched this back-to-back with Mikey. And after Mikey ended, my hopes were down here. I'm like, oh god, that sucked. I want to watch something good now. So I popped this in, not knowing what it was. And I was hooked. Like, right from the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was drawn in. The movie moves at a pace that's nonstop. It's suspenseful, but at the same time, it's funny. So it really gives you just that full entertaining feel. And it's just genuinely entertaining to watch. You got Patrick Dempsey, you got Kelly Preston, directed by a guy named Jeff Burrows. Great job on the screenplay, great writing. This is a movie I can highly recommend to anyone who likes action thrillers, even with a lot of comedy thrown in. There's a scene in this that takes place in a bowling alley that's pretty crazy and fun. If you can find this movie to watch it, because this movie was fantastic. Can't recommend that one highly enough. I got some TV shows, but we'll do those last at the end. So, trying to be careful of all the cars driving by, and I hear like a fire truck in the distance too. So, got Bushwhacked with Daniel Stern. This one was a gift. The Cinema Snob did a review of this movie not too long ago. Is this a good movie? Not really by any means, but it's entertaining. There's a couple jokes that do not land. Like, there's a piss joke in this movie that I absolutely did not like because I hate that kind of humor. I like seeing Daniel Stern, though. Daniel Stern's a lot of fun to watch. I like his character in this. I guess originally this was supposed to be like a spin-off movie, and it was going to be about his Marv character. Personally, I think they should have done that because I think that would have added some cool depth to this movie and to that character, and even to the Home Alone 1 and 2 to a degree. Daniel Stern's always entertaining, though, so he's fun to watch. The kids in the movie aren't too annoying. It's not that special of a movie, but I didn't mind it. It was entertaining enough. Now I got these 2 documentaries, both produced by the same guy, Barry Conrad. The first one is the main, because these came as a bundle. The first one here, this is the main reason I got it. It's a documentary called An Unknown Encounter, a true account of the San Pedro haunting. I believe this is on YouTube for you to watch. It's a 2-disc set. I like the Ouija board kind of discs that they have on there. I believe this is on YouTube if you want to watch it, and there's a lot of coverage of this case. It's based off a true story, you know, and basically it's a documentary about this woman named Jackie Hernandez that moved into a house in San Pedro, California, and, you know, there's a lot of poltergeist activity. What I like about this documentary is that, because the case, it took place in 1989, and there's a lot of home video footage of this weird shit happening. Like, there's parts in here where there's blood plasma kind of oozing out of the walls, you know, poltergeist stuff moving. And the biggest claim to fame with this case was when they were in the attic, and this guy was hung by a ghost, and they got pictures and everything, evidence to prove. Whether or not you believe it, you know, it's pretty captivating, because it's a lot of home video footage and eyewitness testimony. It's actually a pretty believable documentary if all this stuff did happen to poor Jackie Hernandez. Even if you don't believe it, I would still recommend it, just because this is an entertaining documentary. It's really... I've always been interested in, like, ghosts and paranormal shows. I always love watching those shows on TV. You know, I love Ghost Adventures, sue me, and there's some stuff in this documentary that's pretty far-fetched. Like, there's the whole ending where the ghost follows Barry Conrad to his apartment, and there's stuff... Okay, that stuff, maybe not. That stuff may have just been a publicity stunt, like the hamper ends up on the bed, and the case of bullets pops itself on the stove. Like, some of that stuff, a broomstick standing up on the stove, that stuff's far-fetched. But the Jackie Hernandez portion of this documentary is great. I highly recommend you look this up. And the second disc of this is mainly a lot of TV coverage and TV spots that the case had and everything. Now, this other Barry Conrad documentary, now this one I did not have the same reaction to. I'm not familiar with the story behind this. Monsters of the UFO, the incident at Kelly. I don't know what that is, but when I watch this documentary, it's fucking laughable. Because whereas An Unknown Encounter is actual eyewitness interviews and testimonies and stuff like that, this is a case that happened in the 50s. So this entire documentary is done via recreations and dramatizations, and the actors they got for it are fucking terrible. It's like this redneck family, and they're just hamming up these redneck characters. It's entertaining, and it's stupid, but as far as documentaries go, it's pretty fucking bad. But for that, watching it, it was a lot of fun to watch, but I got them as a bundle. So as I said, An Unknown Encounter is a fantastic... The guy narrating it, Ferdy Main, I don't know who the hell that is, but he was creepy. Now, I call bullshit on this. Rated R, I call bullshit on that. There's nothing about this. But great documentary. Entertaining reenactments, but not good. Not good. This movie, on the other hand, was fucking awesome. I absolutely love this one. Back in July of this year, I got all 4 of my wisdom teeth removed. So there was a good week after that where I was just kind of bedridden. You know, when you get your wisdom teeth out, you really can't eat much. You can't really talk much because your mouth is healing and your jaw's all sore. So I watched a lot of movies on demand, and I made it a priority to watch movies that I had never seen or heard of before. Well, not that I haven't heard of, but I made it a priority to watch movies I'd never seen. Some were pieces of shit, like Pinocchio's Revenge, Cave Girl, and this documentary called The Problem with Apu. But there were some good movies. I watched a movie with Paul Walker called Hours that was interesting. But my number 1 favorite movie that I watched when I was healing with my wisdom teeth was this movie. Hackers. Holy fuck, this movie's fantastic. It is the most 90s movie in existence. I used to think that was Brain Scan, but no. The most 90s movie in existence is Hackers. If you want to drown in 90s pop culture and imagery, watch this movie. Very early Angelina Jolie movie. Got Matthew Lillard in there. Penn Jillette has a little cameo, which I thought was funny. I don't know why he's in this, but it's so 90s, but at the same time, the movie... It's intriguing. You really like the characters. They have really strong character development. It's funny. It's not a full-on comedy, but it's very borderline with that. There's a lot of fun, silly stuff in this movie, and the scenes like the ending when they're in the phone booths hacking away, or all the shots of like going through the motherboard of a computer. I had a ball watching this movie. I was watching it, I'm laughing, I'm smiling, I'm entertained. Yeah, beautiful movie. This was a good one. I highly recommend. If you don't like the 90s, don't watch it. You're fucking gonna hate it. But if you don't mind that, this and the electronica techno soundtrack they gave it. I guess they released like 3 CD soundtracks for that movie because the music was that vast. Awesome movie. Scavenger Hunt from 1979. This is one of those many spin-off movies of It's a Mad World, you know, from 1963, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's because, for those of you who don't know, I'm currently finishing up my bachelor's degree in comedy, writing, and performance. That movie's like the perfect comedy. No questions asked. It's a Mad World, in my opinion, is one of the greatest movies of all time. No doubt in my mind. There was a spin-off in the 80s called $1 Million Mystery, which that movie, it's not that good. Rat Race from 2001, which I do really like. I think that's a very fun movie. This was the 70s version of it called Scavenger Hunt. Brief cameo by Vincent Price. I believe was it Vincent? I believe it was Vincent Price. It's been a while since I watched this. At the beginning, where he passes away, and the people are competing, going on a crazy scavenger hunt, collecting items and bringing them back and putting them in these little herds to collect on his will. And some of the people, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a really random cameo in this movie as a gym rat, which that was funny to see. Roddy McDowell, Tony Randall, Scatman Carruthers, Dirk Benedict from the A-Team, Stephen Furst, Richard Masur. Is it as good as It's a Mad World? Absolutely not. Nothing is. And Rat Race, I really love Rat Race too, so I can't say I like this better than Rat Race or It's a Mad World. I do like it better than $1 Million Mystery, because $1 Million Mystery, in my opinion, is not that very good of a movie. There's a lot of fun sight gags in this, a lot of slapsticky type moments. The characters are a little bit more shallow. They're not as, like It's a Mad World and Rat Race do a good job kind of characterizing and setting people up. Here, not as much, but the characters are fun. They're all fun to watch. I found it funny how this was before Dirk Benedict was in the A-Team, and yet in this he plays the character that has the van. But if you like It's a Mad World, and if you like Rat Race, I think you'll like this one. It's better than $1 Million Mystery. So if you like $1 Million Mystery, you'll like this, because if you can like that movie, you can like this movie. So it's fun. There's a lot of funny stuff, and it's even worth it for the random stuff like Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's a couple cameos in that really strange. Then we got Body Parts with Jeff Fahey, which was a horror movie that I had never really seen or heard too much about. I heard a couple underrated reviews of it, but I'd never seen it myself, so I went into it not really knowing much about it. I really enjoyed it. It's a shame this movie isn't more well known, because you have Jeff Fahey, Brad Dourif is in this movie. Jeff Fahey loses his car. Jeff Fahey loses his arm in a car accident, and they transplant a new arm onto him, and it's an arm that used to belong to a serial killer. And Brad Dourif plays the guy that received the killer's other arm. He's like a painter. There's a guy from Seinfeld that's in this movie as the guy that gets the legs of the killer. I forget the actor's name. He's the guy in Seinfeld in the episode with Clint Howard, where Clint Howard was like the killer or whatever. He played the sheriff or the cop that interrogated Kramer, the real crazy one. He's in this as the guy that gets his legs from the killer, and you know, it starts off as kind of a psychological thriller where it's like, where does evil come from? Is it all in his mind, knowing that this is where the arm came from? But then when you get to the last third of this movie goes balls to the wall insane. There is a car chase in this movie, unlike a car chase you've seen in any other movie. And even after that, when you see, it's a very gruesome ending, I will say that, but it's entertaining, it's crazy. If you sit through the first two halves of the movie, where it's more like a psychological thriller, and then you get to the batshit insane third act, it's very worth the price of admission. It's a very satisfying ending. I'm ashamed to say I have not watched this one yet, but I am very excited to watch it soon, and it's Red Heat with Schwarzenegger and Belushi. I have not watched this one yet. I'm very sorry. I'm looking forward to watching it. It sounds like one I'll really enjoy. It sounds like a lot of fun. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, so mark my words, guys. I will get to that one. One Man Force with John Matuzak and Richard Lynch and Charles Napier, Ronnie Cox, and Stacy Q, which, for those of you who don't know my Stacy Q story, you know Stacy Q was that one-hit wonder from the 80s with the song Two of Hearts. Two of Hearts. Last November, when I went on my vacation to the Dominican Republic for 80s in the Sand, I actually sat at a picnic table and had lunch, or dinner, because it was like 5 o'clock at night. I had dinner with Stacy Q on a picnic table by the ocean. And Stacy Q was not in the right state of mind, seeing as she was trying to get me to join her Buddhist colony. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is an encounter I had with Stacy Q. I went to her hotel room afterwards, too. She gave me an album, which was really nice of her. So thank you for the album, Stacy Q. However, you trying to persuade me to go on this Buddhist retreat was pretty weird, not gonna lie. But anyway, she's in this movie, so seeing her briefly in this was very funny. If you like 80s action movies, you have to watch this. This movie's so fucking stupid, so over the top, but it's so funny to watch. It's very rewarding watching John Matuzak pick up fridges and Pepsi machines and go. This movie has an action scene in a gay bar that is the greatest movie scene ever to take place in a gay bar. I'm not even making that. And that's not a sentence that I throw out there often. It's stupid. Is it technically good? Not at all. But it's entertaining as shit. It's a fun movie. I definitely watch this if you like the stupid 80s action movies. Then this one was a recommendation from another friend of mine, because we were talking about the movie Clue and how much we like that, so they recommended this to me. Murder by Death, which Eileen Brennan, Peter Falk, Peter Sellers. See, being a comedy major in school, we talk a lot about taboo humor and how political correctness and how none of this stuff would ever fly nowadays, and such is the case with Peter Sellers. But you know what? Despite the fact I go to an art school, which is, you know, a highly liberal institution, I don't give a flying fuck because I think this is funny. Cool it in the comments now, people. It's not as good as Clue. It's not as crazy. This is almost, it plays out very much like a play. I don't know if that's originally what this was or not. Most of it takes place in one setting. The characters are a lot of fun, though. The characters are what sell this movie. I love Peter Falk as, oh god, what was his character's name? Sam Diamond. That's it, Sam Diamond. A lot of funny, it's a lot of witty, dry dialogue. It's not really a lot of slapstick. There's not really a lot of crazy situations. It's more, as I said, it's kind of like a play, so it relies on a lot of wittier dialogue and just kind of the surrealist twists on things, but I had a lot of fun watching this movie. It's not as good as Clue. I love Clue. I think Clue is one of the best comedies of the 80s, This isn't quite up there on that level, but the characters are fun. It's got a lot of stupid humor in it. I enjoyed it, though. If you like Clue and you never really heard of this, or if you like the Peter Sellers, Peter Falk, Eileen Brennan, give it a watch. I think you'll be satisfied. And we're ending out here. Well, not ending. I got a couple other things, but doing the TV shows now. This one was a gift. I actually didn't open it yet. But it's a good show. Sam and Max Freelance Police. This was a gift of a friend of mine that we always watch cartoons and stuff on Facebook and on YouTube. We're always sharing shows back and forth. And this was a show I had never seen or heard of until he sent me some episodes. But it's a nice show. You know, it's very witty, very dry humor, which I really like. Because it's not really just like a show for kids. There's a lot of fun, dry, witty humor to it. That's, you know, that's the kind of style of humor that kills me. That's my favorite. And, some of the plot, it's crazy. Like, there's an episode where they show the atomic bomb footage and everything. It's crazy, but it's actually a fun show. It was from Fox Kids. I don't know how common of a show this was or not. I don't know if it was a big hit or not, but it's entertaining. The voice actors are great. Like, it's got the one guy who did the voice of Delete on the show Cyber Chase, which is a childhood favorite of mine. Then this is, when you look at all the long-term cartoons, you know, stuff like Simpsons, Family Guy, you know, all that kind of stuff, this one has always been my favorite. I love this show. I need to get all the seasons on DVD, and what we have here is the 3rd and 4th seasons of King of the Hill. This is my favorite. Out of all of them, I love King of the Hill. It's my favorite cartoon. I love the characters. Love, you know, Mike Judge. I was never into Beavis and Butthead, sad to say, but this, to me, because it's not too crazy, it's not too over the top compared to the shows like Simpsons or Family Guy. There's a couple episodes of King of the Hill from other seasons that have gotten kind of weird raps for how kind of outside their plots have been. The 3rd season is one of my favorite seasons of the show. It's the Emmy Award-winning season. A couple standout episodes. It's got the episode that I love. In my opinion, it's the best episode of the show, where Hank, Bill, Boomhauer, and Dale became volunteer firefighters, and it's all the shit that happens to them at the fire station and that episode. The first time I saw it, I was laughing my ass off. Great episodes, though, on both of these. I need to pick up. Granted, on TV and on demand, I've probably seen, I don't know about all of them, but I've seen a lot of King of the Hill. But I definitely want to collect all the DVDs of them. And yeah, great seasons. I've watched them both through a couple times now. And then, oh boy, you guys know me. You know I love the 80s. This is a show that probably not many people know even exists. I sure as hell didn't know it existed. You guys know the Monkees from the 60s, Monkees, you know, Mickey Dolenz, David Jones. My parents are obsessed with the Monkees, and you know, the couple times I've watched it, I've liked it too. It's the kind of quirky humor I like. Well, did you know in the 80s we had the new Monkees? If Hackers will drown you in the 90s, this will drown you in the 80s. This show is so stupid and so ridiculous. But at the same time, I can't hate it, because it is so fun to watch at its sheer stupidity. Look up the soundtrack album from 1987, The New Monkees. I don't give a shit who you are. The songs are actually really good and really catchy. Look up What I Want. Look up I Don't Know. Or what's that other one I like? There's a 3rd song from this that I love. You can find it on YouTube. It's on the soundtrack album. I got the melody in my head. I just can't think of it. This show is fucking stupid. Okay? It's crazy. It's dumb. It's terrible. But for that reason, it's so fun to watch. Just how ridiculous. Like, episode 2 is called All My Marties. The plot of the episode, the guy falls asleep on a copy machine during a lightning storm, and he ends up cloning himself, and they go around, because it's... There's another episode where the Pope forgets his electric guitar at their house, and they need to return the electric guitar to the Pope. The Del Rubio triplets make an appearance. in one of the strangest music videos you will ever see for the song I Don't Know. If you're a fan of the 80s, you owe it to yourself to watch this, because it's so 80s and so crazy. Just be warned at how stupid it is. But at the same time, I got a kick out of watching it, just because of how dumb and ridiculous it was. The soundtrack album, the songs they make, because that's actually the band, like, that made the songs, and the songs are awesome. It's actually a really good soundtrack. And then, ending that cap out, I do have the complete series of Miami Vice. Look, I love Miami Vice. If you guys have seen my Dominican Republic vacation video or some of my other ones, you'll see that I have a Sonny Crockett suit with the white jacket, the white pants, and the pink shirt. Currently, as I record this, that's actually my Facebook profile picture, me in the Dominican Republic wearing that. Great show. Not all the episodes have a happy ending. It's very realistic. It's very gritty. Some of my favorite Miami Vice needs no introduction. This is the Mill Creek set, with the complete series. Some of my favorite episodes, it's fun. My favorite season of Miami Vice is season 4, which is what everyone considers to be the worst season because of how stupid it was. I myself liked it. But some of my favorite episodes, one of them, the Bruce Willis episode, No Exit. That episode is deep, but it's dramatic, and it's great. The episode from season 3 where Tubbs is in the prison, and they have to go break him out at the end. That episode was awesome. And then I love the crazier ones. Like, there was an episode in season 4 with they cryogenically froze a rapper. Literally, like, rap singer. They cryogenically froze him. It's this guy with these yellow shades. It's ridiculous. And the episode ends with the cryogenic tube floating away in the ocean. It's ridiculous, and it's so far out there for Miami Vice, but that's why I liked it. Same thing, there was an episode with Garrett Graham where he was playing a guy that smuggled bull semen, and they did the episode like it was an Old West type thing. It was hilarious. Like, I'm watching that episode laughing my ass off. And then the craziest is arguably the episode where they had James Brown playing an alien. That episode is psychedelic, that episode is weird, that episode makes no sense, but it was a lot of fun to watch. So, my unpopular opinion there. And, the songs. Who doesn't love the music from Miami? Jan Hammer, or even the song, like, seriously guys, look up the song When the Rain Comes Down by Andy Taylor. I thank Miami Vice for introducing me to that song. What time am I at here? Okay, 37 minutes. If you're still watching, the fact you're this interested in what I have to say, thank you. We've got the best, it's not all of them, sad to say, because there are a lot of copyright disputes, but we have the best of the new Scooby Doo movies. Got some great... Growing up, I grew up with the VHS tapes of Scooby Doo Meets Batman and Scooby Doo Meets the Harlem Globetrotters. Those are all on here. They've got a lot of fun episodes with Don Knotts, Jonathan Winters. The Jonathan Winters episode is a lot of fun where they go to his farm. They had a Dick Van Dyke episode that was really weird where Dick Van Dyke ran this carnival. That one was a little weird. I didn't understand that one. But the Three Stooges make a couple appearances. Mama Elliott. I know there's some that didn't make it on here. I'm sure you can find a bootleg of them online, but, classic Scooby-Doo from the 60s and 70s. I don't think there is a human being on this planet Earth that can hate original Scooby-Doo. Like, come on, how can you hate Scooby-Doo? Let's be real here. Especially these. These are a whole lot of fun. Got my Target. I didn't even open this. I kept it sealed. Because I have Netflix, so I don't really care. It's the VHS Target edition of the first season of Stranger Things, which is a show I really enjoy. I like Season 2, not as much as Season 1, though, because Season 1 was more of a novelty. It was a new thing. It was original. Then, it blew up and it became a gigantic thing. So Season 2, it's good. It feels like a natural continuation of it, but I prefer Season 1. And this is great. I remember watching this summer 2016 when it came out, and I was enthralled by it. I'm like, wow, this is... It took a long time for this to get released, too. I'm glad they put it. If they do something like this for season 2, I'll definitely pick that up as well. I've got a lot of Stranger Things merchandise, too. Like, I bought some action figures at the horror convention. I've got a Stranger Things t-shirt. I got a couple Stranger Things memorabilia. Great show, though. Great kid actors. You know, Millie Bobby Brown became a megastar from this show. I get told all the time. I have been told by the Wild Hogs rolling through. I have been told by at least 20 people. And when I say that, I'm not exaggerating. I have been told by at least 20 people, like, Ken, you look exactly like Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. Like, you'd be surprised how often I've been told that. Which I'll take it. I mean, Joe Keery, if you're watching this, if you want to work together, let me know. But, you know, I have a Stranger Things Monopoly. That's the other thing I bought. I bought a Monopoly game. But, you know, Stranger Things, it's become a huge phenomenon, which rightfully so. A lot of good hard work went into it. The Duffer Brothers and Sean Levy. Hell, I wouldn't mind being an actor on that show. I think I'd have a lot of fun with it. Season 3 should be interesting. I do think that, because I've heard somewhere they're renewing it up through Season 5. How much can you do, unless they make it like an anthology where it becomes like about different stories, I don't know how much farther they can keep going with it. But, you know, if you haven't seen it and you like the 80s, it's a big Stephen King tribute type deal. It's a good show, though. If you haven't seen Stranger Things, you know, it's worth your time. The hype is definitely worth it. And then finally, they started putting these out again. I got the 18th season of The Simpsons, which, because they released season 20 for the 20th anniversary, which was stupid, but I bought that DVD. So the only DVD season that has not come out yet on DVD is season 19. I will buy the season 19 DVD, but that's where I'm going to stop. Because season 20 onward is just total dog shit. I still watch the new episodes on Fox when they come on TV. And I'm back. I was talking for so long, I bored the camera and the memory card slowed down. Well, now I need to go edit this together. Lovely me. But as I was saying, season 20 and beyond of The Simpsons, like, I'll buy season 19 just so I can have seasons 1 through 20 on DVD, but outside of that, it's just not worth it. But as I said, there was one episode I liked. It was the season finale back this year in 2018. I lost count, season 29, 28, whatever it was. The name of the episode was Bart's Ladder, and it was where Bart was in a coma and he could communicate and see all the dead people from throughout the series. They left out Frank Grimes, which pisses me off. But some of the references they made were real, like they had Sherry Bobbins in there and Maud Flanders. That was a nice episode, but I don't know why I'm talking about that one. Season 18, you know, it's not that bad. It's actually a pretty good season. It's got that 24 minutes, which is the 24 parody. That episode's pretty cool. G.I. Doe, that's a good one where Homer like they're wearing night vision goggles and Homer shoots off a flare and blinds everyone. And another one of my favorites was the one where Homer buys an ice cream truck and Homer becomes an ice cream truck driver, and it's like a parody of Pimp My Ride, and Homer comes down like blasting Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. That was a lot of fun. That's a good episode. So ultimately, and they brought the commentaries back, which I really liked. So if you're a fan of The Simpsons, you probably already got it, so I don't think I need to say anything. My last two DVDs I'm going to be showing you guys are both very personal to me. I always include these in my videos just because I like talking about them. The first one, I had my VHS converter, like VHS to DVD, broke. And I had a lot of tapes that I needed still to get put on DVD. My kindergarten tape, my Arthur's New Friend tape. So I sent them to my friend out in Virginia, and he put them on DVD for me, and he made this case for me. So if any of you want to see what I look like at age like 3, 4, 5, like if you want to see little me, check that out right there. So there's my kindergarten VHS tape of the 2002 to 2003 school year. Miss Troike's class. Oh, God, it's a photo slideshow set to a bunch of different songs. You know, I had to make sure I preserved it. Arthur's New Friend was one of those things where you could send in a picture of yourself, and they would dub your name into the dialogue and put your face on a character to make it look like you were... And we did that with Arthur, which Arthur was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. And so you could see the picture of me there with the little bird on my finger. It was Arthur's New Friend starring Kenny. That was a lot of fun. And then some other... There Goes Santa Claus. There Goes Santa Claus was a part of the Dave Hood Real Wheels series that I grew up loving. There Goes Santa Claus was one of the only ones that was not released on DVD, so, you know, he put that one on there for me. And then I actually got an episode of Shining Time Station called Queen for a Day, which was from an original 1995 broadcast of Shining Time Station, which, growing up, Thomas and Friends was my shit. Thomas the Tank Engine, forever in my heart. Especially the George Carlin and Alec Baldwin eras. So, you know, so this is essentially my childhood wrapped up into one DVD there. So, very sentimental, very cool. And lastly, we started with my kindergarten tape, Graduation 2017. This was when I graduated from Moraine Valley Community College in May of 2017 with my associate's degree. So this was my freshman and sophomore year of college at Moraine Valley. I graduated in May 2017 with my associates, and now I'm currently a senior at Columbia College, Chicago, finishing up my bachelor's degree in comedy, writing, and performance. I will be studying at the Second City here in Chicago next year to get my bachelor's in May. So you're getting to see my whole life here. And this is the graduation ceremony. What can I say? I'm very proud of the hard work I've put into my school and where I've gone and the friends I've made. I mean, Moraine Valley, the 2 years I spent there was a phenomenal experience. Not too many of my close friends are in this graduation ceremony because, A, not a lot of people did the ceremony, but B, a lot of people don't. They just kind of transfer. Community college, you get a lot of transfers and people that don't really fulfill. But I fulfilled the full associate's degree. That way I was a nice, easy transfer for Columbia College. Let's see. I know a very close friend of mine, Leo, is in this. A close friend of mine, Kim, guy I went to high school with, Rokas, is in this. So, there you have it, guys. It's been almost 3 years, but there I am talking about movies again in honor of my 10th anniversary coming up on YouTube. Hope you enjoyed what I had to say. If you didn't, I really don't give a fuck. Because it's a small part of my life. I'm just so busy, I don't have time for movies. I love them. I'm trying to work in them one day. That's why I have my bachelor's in comedy, writing, and performance. It's just the collecting. It all comes down to the money, too, of everything, because I can't be spending that. Because I pay for a lot, and I do a lot nowadays, so I need to be careful with my finances. So I just don't collect anymore. But this is what has accumulated. You never know, I might make this an annual thing, maybe once a year, just talk about some movies I'd pick up. Not really as a collector thing, but just, you know, kind of bullshitting around. You know, it's fun, so. Thank you guys for watching this. This has been long, but beautiful day out, making the best out of everything. Guys, thank you for watching. Have a very nice day. You'll be seeing a lot from me here soon on YouTube, so enjoy.